All right. Today we are going to learn how to use NoteFlight and how to do basic question and answer composition. So before we get started, one thing you need to do is make sure you make a NoteFlight account on your own. If you go to noteflight.com, it'll redirect you to NoteFlight, and then you can sign in for a free account. NoteFlight is really cool composition software in that it lets you store up to 10 of your music compositions for free on the cloud, no cost to you. You can sign up with any email address, student email address, a personal one, either which way. And I even want to say that even now today, you can even use more than 10 compositions if you sign up for the premium free trial that they're offering due to the shutdowns. So something cool that you can use. So on the home page, you can see a few things. You have my scores here. I don't have any scores right now. Purchased scores. NoteFlight has the opportunity to buy scores. You do not need to buy anything for what we're doing. And then if you end up deleting one of your scores, you don't like it. I have a couple deleted ones that I cleared off this page. Things like that. You can share your scores with friends as well if you would like to send it to someone else. So that's something you're welcome to do. Up top, you've got a couple important options. You've got the create button, which lets you create your own score, which is really cool. My scores, which brings us to where we are right now to show us what I have in my library. The community, you can actually download other people's free scores if they have their sharing settings on. So if you want to browse other people's compositions, you can probably find some things to play on your own instrument, things like that. And then Marketplace, again, for purchasing, you probably want to stay away from that for now. The Help Center if you have any questions, etc. Let's go in and create a score. So I'm hitting the create button. And it gives me two options. Start from a blank score sheet or start by importing XML or MIDI files. MIDI files are not needed right now, nor are XML, so we're going to start from the blank score sheet. I'm going to hit OK. And here we go. So I've got a lot of things on my screen right now. Now, we have, as you can see, a couple empty spots for title, subtitle, lyricist, and composer. So you want to give your piece a title. Doesn't have to go right away, but I'm going to title mine nice and easy, Mr. Pitcher's Piece. Short, simple, to the point. Subtitle, if you have anything else. Sometimes people have like a second title for their piece, whatever they want. You can put something there. I don't really have a subtitle. I like pizza. Let's go with that. Great. Lyricist only applies if you have lyrics. So sometimes in choral music, the lyricist is different from the composer. The composer is the person who writes the music for the song that you're playing, and then the lyricist is the person who writes the words. So there are no words to this, so I'm not going to bother with lyricist, but for composer, I will put Mr. Pitcher, because that's me. All right. Now I've got 4 measures going on here, and each measure you can highlight, and you can see that I can drag and drop a note wherever I need it. Now, you see that there's treble clef and bass clef, and they're connected here. We call this a grand staff, and this is generally for piano. However, I don't want you to compose for piano. I want you to compose for your own instrument. So one thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to parts way up here. You can also do it in the score tab. But parts, I click parts, and I see it come up on the right side. Now, currently listed for piano. I want to add my own instrument. I'm going to use violin, so I'm going to add a part. I'm going to do bowed or plucked. Doesn't matter to me. Let's go violin. All of this is where it needs to be. Don't touch any of that. Okay. Now I have a piano and violin. I can get rid of the piano by hitting the trash can to delete, and then I have my violin part. X out of that, give myself some more room. Now, for today's composition assignment, I want you to do 4 measures of your own composition in a question and answer format. And I'm going to explain what that means in a minute, but a couple other ground rules I want you to start with. I want you to make sure that you are using only quarter notes and half notes. If you go up to the duration button right here, you can click on the quarter note or the half note, and it will change what you have down here. And I'll show you that in action here in just a second. So remember duration for the rhythms. And then I want you to make sure you're in the key of D major as well. So if I go up to measure, I have my key signatures. You see the sharps. Click on that. Change it to the key of D major. D major. Okay. And it changes my whole piece. It gives it a key signature. So I've got my key signature. I've got my time signature 4/4 using quarter notes and half notes. Now, as an example of what I want you to do for this question and answer thing, I'm going to use a piece you all know. I'm going to use Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We've definitely heard it before. So in order to put rhythms in to NoteFlight, I'm going to go up to duration. I'm going to click on my rhythm. Actually, I'm going to click on the measure, excuse me. And then you see that I have all these different rhythms still up here, but they change to rests. That's only if I want to add rests. So I'm going to add my first note, D, and it actually makes some sound as well. So D, D, A, oops. If you accidentally put in a wrong note like that, I accidentally hit a G instead of an A, you can use your arrow keys, and it changes the pitch. Got B, I accidentally put a C sharp. How about B, B, and then I need a half note A. So what I just did is I hit my right arrow key to go over to this half note, and it automatically selected the half rest. So I just put my note there, and it's automatically a half note. Now if I go over to this measure again, I gotta click my quarter note, it puts in the quarters. G, G, sorry about that. F sharp, E, E, automatic half note, D. And I'll give you this extra measure. So if you can see the note that you're always on, the note that you're gonna change is the one that's highlighted in red. So I want to change this measure, so I've got to take my highlighter over to that measure. I'm on the rest now, and if I want to delete this measure, because we only need 4 measures, I'm going to go up to Measure tab, minus, delete measures. If you hover over it, bam, it's gone. So once I have my notes in place, one thing I really want to make sure I do is I want to save my work. So I have to go up here at the top, and I got to hit save, and it uploads it straight to the cloud. So Mr. Pitcher's piece, saved, and there was a little flash up there that said it was saving, but it's got it. All right, so the question and answer composition, we've already put in notes. What I mean by that is that in music, you can have questions and you can have answers, and it's kind of like how a conversation works in real life. Say you're talking with your friend. One person asks someone a question, and then one person answers the question. So in Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I'm going to call the first 2 measures the question. D, D, A, B, B, A. So it's a question because it doesn't come right back to where it started. Generally, when someone answers a question, it brings it back full circle to what you talked about. But when you ask the question, you're in a different place than when you started. So I'm starting on a D, and we're in the key of D, so that makes sense that it's a good place to start. D, D, A, B, B, A. That's a little far away from home. It's far away from D. It's still in the key of D, but it's far away. So we are asking the question. We're putting it out there, right? Changing the pitch. And then the second half, I'm going to call the answer. Brings it back home. G, G, F sharp, E, E, D. So D brings it right back home, and we're right where we started pitch-wise, right? Now, in order to make it interesting musically, you might want to experiment with how far up and down you go. So this note, this D and this A, they're 5 notes away. We call it a fifth. And then the B goes a little bit higher. So this has a total range of 6 notes. So D to B, this range of a sixth. And then this half, G to D, that's a range of a fourth. So generally when you're coming up with your own questions and answers, I wouldn't go any further than an octave away. So from D on the D string to D on the A string, or G for basses. Just play around with the notes in that 1 octave D major scale and see if you can't come up with a question and an answer for yourself. One other concept with question and answer that's really good to understand is that music also has these concepts of tension and resolution. So this first 2 measures creates tension. It goes away from the comfortable home in the key of D, goes away to A. It's not incredibly far away, but it's there. It's in a different place. Maybe there's some tension. And then it comes right back home and resolves back to that. So we can go a lot further than that with harmony, but for now, this is a good starting place. So I've got my piece. I've got it all set. Pretend that these are the notes I want to use. One other thing that I didn't mention earlier, you have this quarter note equals 120. That's your tempo marking. And you can actually change the tempo up here. You can set it to whatever you want. One really cool feature of NoteFlight is that when you write your music down, you can hear it played back if I go to the play tab. So I'm going to play. Lovely. And if I wanted to, I could change the tempo. So if I changed it to 60 instead of 120, or 160, why not? Let's hear it fast. A little bit faster. And you can play around with whatever tempo you want. So once you have your composition set, you're going to want to take a screenshot of this so you can send it to me in Canvas. So in order to do that, I hit 3 buttons all at the same time. Command, Shift, 4, and then the crosshairs pop up. And then I want to make sure I get the title, all the notes, highlight it in that gray box right there. Takes a screenshot, and that should end up on your desktop. So that way you can take that file, upload it to Canvas, and then send it to me through that assignment. Once you have it uploaded, make sure to turn it in. That way I know I get a notification for it, and I know you've turned it in and done your work. But that's where we're going to start today, just a simple 4-measure composition. Now, going a little bit further, if you say you want to play around with this a little bit and get a little more involved with NoteFlight, you are entirely welcome to make more compositions and to go outside of these 4 measures. You can continue on with your piece if you want. You can create an entirely new piece in a different key. You can use whatever instruments you want. Go ahead and go nuts with it. Really, you've got all the time in the world to play with this. So experiment and have fun and see what you can do with your music. If you want to add other instruments, you go back to score and just add a few more, right? So say I want a full orchestra. I have a viola. I'm going to add, okay. Boom, there's a viola part. I want to add a cello. Boom, there's a cello part. If I want to add a bass. Okay. And then I can even add a second violin. And then I can move that back in order. And I have a whole string orchestra. So if you wanted to write something like that, you're very well able to. So if you have any questions, please just get in touch with me. Give me an email, give me a call, whatever you need to do. But I'm happy to help you out with this and try and get it figured out. We're going to be going over a lot of this in the conference call as well today, and then I'll take questions there. So if you see this ahead of time and then want to ask more questions in the conference, be my guest. Excited to get to talk to you guys today. I think that's all I got for you. So thanks so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Bye.